Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Not Your Normal Discussion. I am your host, Queen Pedii.
And I'm Tryst, your co-host today.
All right, so sadly, Suge and Nina are out today, but they will be back next week with our guest host. So let's start.
So we can start with what's been going on with surviving Trey Songz. And you in essay.
Should I stop recording?
Hmm?
Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Hey, so today, hope you had a wonderful week. I know Christmas season's coming up, holiday season's coming up, everybody's holidays. Today though, this guy's being more than a Grinch, Trey Songz. Personally, I love Trey. However, Tremaine, he's in trouble. We need to call him up to the front of the seat because he's not in trouble for his birthday celebration with someone alleging that he's been doing sexual intimidation and sex abuse, him and his entourage in a Las Vegas hotel. And if we look back in Trey Songz' most recent history, we have everyone from Baby Rexha, Selena Powell, even good old Keke Palmer. Akilah and the B ain't done nothing to nobody. Baby Wendy Williams. Baby Angela Bassett. Like, alleging that he's done everything from intimidate them sexually. She had to go hide in the closet from him with Baby Rexha. She said at a pool party, he just pushed himself up on her, started kissing on her, and say, "Yo, let's make it happen." She's like, I just seen him with his date, and he came and did this, and he's like, and I'm like, no, right now. He's like, I'm playing anyway. And we already heard about him confiscating people's stuff and keeping them locked for days. Like I guess he thinks he has a contract with these women once they step in the room, and he has to fulfill the contract all the way. But as much as I've loved Trey Songz from the beginning, like I'm talking about from Just Gotta Make It days, from like some of my favorite songs from him are like his little Headlines remix, Over remix, The Ego remix. One of my favorite songs of his is Nightmares at the Bottom.
I've never heard that song.
If you can stomach it after our conversation, go listen to it.
I don't listen to him. I don't listen to him.
A lot of people don't. I feel like I'm one of the lone Trey Songz lovers out there still. So it's even more important I come at him for shit that I believe he's blatantly doing, been getting away with. And now it might be time to pay the piper. Now it might finally be the damn breaking. Because when someone keeps getting away with shit like this, they're gonna keep doing it. Like we see with Andrew Cuomo, we see with his brother Chris Cuomo, we see all the allegations against them. We see Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby. People will get away for years with all types of wild, evil shit. And I respect the consent, thinking that because they did this, that, and the other, they're owed now the full contract for sex or whatever. And I hope he gets his due. Like, I don't necessarily want to see Trey Songz in prison, but if he's doing things like this, as much as I'm a prison abolitionist, there needs to be some accountability. I'll pass it to you.
Well, like I said, well, I'll say I stopped listening to him when like Keke Palmer came out and was like, hey, he did something to me. And like, I don't understand why people like kind of skated over that. Because right. I bet if it was like Ariana Grande that said that shit, oh my God, the whole world would have like fell to pieces. And I don't even like Ariana Grande, but like, come on, you know. Mm-hmm. But I think what his issue is that he is entitled now. Like he has hit such a level of notoriety that he's just like, you know what? women will just fall to their knees, like in front of me, and do what I ask them to do because I am who I am. And this is the thought process of a lot of these male celebrities, because so many women throw themselves at them. And after a while, you just kind of expect it. So, and like what you said about it being a contract, like he feels like, oh, you have a contract with me, you're in my presence, so you have to do this. Like, no, because like we were actually, me and one of my friends was actually talking about, like, is it right or wrong for a woman to, like, if she's in a relationship, to like say no when it comes to sex? And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she has every right to say no. Like, she's not wrong.
And the thing
She is
is,
not wrong.
there's nothing.
Like, these women are not wrong for saying no. Just because I'm here doesn't mean I
Yeah.
have to do things with you. Like,
Yeah.
anybody that has to hide in the closet, I've had to hide from people. And that's a fear that you don't want to know. Like, that's not even cute. To corner somebody in something wrong with him mentally.
Yeah.
That's what I get. That's all I have. Something wrong mentally.
I don't know if he's gonna go down with this case, but he's gonna go down, if not now, eventually, because the more you keep getting away with it, the worse and worse you get. Like,
Yeah, it's
and
gonna get bad. Like,
he's 12, and he's not only did he, like, she said that he wanted her for a video. He's known her since she was 12. His assistant, his producer, they all reached out to her. She said no. Now he brings some food and alcohol, and then it's like, you heard cameras, you heard action, cameras rolling. And it's like, you can't just force me by me being in your presence to partake in shit. And
exactly.
tell me what you said about can some, like, is it wrong to say no in a relationship? Like, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and recently one of our pastors had to be let go from some, I don't remember which conference, because he was out here preaching sermons where he's talking about shit like, basically, you can't rape your wife, but also the perfect person to rape is your wife. And it's like, what is this ownership that you need? Like, you you want to say that, like, the things that, and it's not just biblical, because there's people outside of, in other religions, outside of religions, men just, patriarchy just likes control. It likes control over women. It like I remember seeing a tweet on Facebook, or I said tweet, but a post on Facebook that was like, um, yo, you better be paying your lady's rent. And like, I'm sure that's nice in certain contexts. I don't know who and who's rich enough. I don't know no one personally who's rich enough to pay their rent and somebody else's rent.
I
But
know some people.
what's not being said with that post is that often the concept of basically being a financier or supplier for your partner comes with this almost contract of it, of like, now that you're dependent on me, what are you going to refuse me? What are you going to do without me? Type energy. And
Yeah,
it's like, if you want to be out here tricking, if you want to be out here supplying, taking care, whatever, cool. But you should also do that, one, with the context of, and we know a lot of rappers, not just rappers, a lot of rich people, and for whatever demographic or whatever segment of society you're from, it's going to look differently. Whether it's you're paying on bills, whether it's you're buying bags, whether it's you're taking them on shopping trips. A lot of people do a lot of fine whining and dining to get them initially, and then try and condition them to being dependent on them. And it's like, oh, you're not gonna fuck with me? Like, same thing with Dangly and the baby, where he had cops
yeah,
who, and the next day she's back. If it was really that serious, why is she back? It's not like you're the woman who's dependent on a man. You
yeah,
just flex on her and let her know that you control her in this instant, and what are you gonna do without me? What are you
yeah.
gonna do? Same thing with Tristan Thompson's telling his
Oh, geez. You mean Tristan, third trimester Thompson?
tell her, hey, I will not be involved. You better take the 75K, because if not, fuck you. I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
involved. Like, not even saying I don't think that baby's mine in this text, but just saying whatever
But
bag.
he did actually start running around saying he wasn't even, I mean, he's like, I want to get DNA test. You know that baby is yours. Stop playing. You run up in bitches raw all the damn time.
And
He's a raw dogger.
Yeah, and it's like, dog, if you're gonna raw dog, no pull out, none. But these niggas love breeding. These niggas, don't be checking no hours.
Maybe the coochie is just good. I don't know, but
I think it's just a habit.
weird.
Coming in some coochie feels great. However, you're rich. You should know the price that comes with coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should know.
Definitely.
And
That's crazy. Uh, but I think a lot of men, and it's not even just, celebrity men though. I need them to like throw out this whole sense of entitlement to like women's bodies, because y'all don't own us. You don't regulate bodies over, well, at least not over here. It's some women out here that might actually be like, yeah, regulate me. Da, 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 da. But I'm not one of those women. So like you gotta have consent with me, honey.
Like if you look at T.I. and Tiny, and they're trying to shield themselves with the concept of like, well, whatever consenting adults do in threesomes, and it's like people are saying is not consent. People are saying
they're drugged
in and out of consciousness while they're getting everything from showers to
toes being put in vaginas. Toes. Ew, like if somebody ever put a toe in my vagina like that, I don't think I would ever be able to like look at them the same, like
he's rich enough, they're rich enough if they wanted to, they could have found people who would consent to that. They don't care about consent. And it's like I've been involved in swinging parties, I've been involved in a threesome or two. You need more consent, not less, when there's more people involved.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife was fine with everything we did, so it's all good. Like these people that they use and then discard, and then they wonder why they're coming back. And it's not that it's not like, oh, we're miffed. It's like, no, you obviously didn't value your consent. And this is how you know it's not a situation where they actually gave a fuck about consent, because you would think, like, if I was being accused of some shit, my thing would be like, especially if it was like, it's one thing for you to be like full denial if you never fucked that person. If you had fucked that person, you would expect them to be like, yo, I didn't even realize like that you felt that way about this situation. Yo, what did I do to like harm you, and what can I do to make it up to you? Like there's not even that energy. Like whether privately, publicly, there's no energy of like, yo, I didn't even realize you felt harmed or unsafe or uncomfortable in this situation. What did I do that made you feel that way, and what can I do to make it up to you in some sense? Like, and there's a different subject of what is appropriate, like price to pay for these type of things, how much time, if there should be time, all that shit, depending on different scenarios. Those should be conversation, but you would think the starting point, especially if you would think the point of like, yo, ain't no shit like that happening, would be from a like, yo, I ain't even met the bitch, or like we never even fucked, like I ain't never touched her. But like if you actually did get involved, and now you're talking about, oh, like Trey Songz said, baby girl bugging. Is baby girl bugging, or were you bugging, and now you mad that she's up? And then if y'all were so close and you know her since she was 12 and all that shit, you would think y'all would have a relationship where if it wasn't sincere, you'd be like, yo, I would never, like, I've known you forever. I would never have wanted to make you feel that uncomfortable. I really thought that like in person, you feel different way since we're there and like we're together and chill. I'm so sorry. Like, you would think you would have some.
But it's not. And that's what I'm saying. He feels entitled. Like that, it just all goes back to that, because like, I don't know. I guess the whole mindset of, yeah, women are just supposed to give it to you. It's just how they feel.
Well, I think it's that, and it's also the mindset of, oh, I bought you drinks. Oh, I brought you up to my hotel. Oh, I treated you nice for the night. Oh, so you thought you was gonna just get all that and I had to get nothing back. This mindset of like transaction, but also transaction that's unstated. It's not even like, because there's sex workers out there, and even with sex work, it's still based on consent. Just because you pay doesn't mean you get to do whatever the fuck you want to somebody. There's still supposed to be like sense of consent, but there's also unspoken contract of like, oh, I treated you nice, I did nice things for you, I did things other people couldn't do for you. So how, if you would be willing to do things with these other people, are you not willing to do those things to me? It's that sense of like, and we see this all the time. Every type of like lashing out, whether it's domestic abuse or whatever it is, it comes from some type of form of rejection that's taken as disrespect because I wanted to do this the easy way, but now I'm on booty warrior shit. Let's do it the hard way shit. Like,
oh Lord, like you triggered me just now. Like I mean, you're out here triggering your leader out here, but no, when you were talking about how like people feel like I bought you this, I did this for you, because I've heard those words before. And to be honest, I don't know what I did to hear it. I didn't reject the person.
It's literally they just think that like, hey,
they were entitled to me, which I mean
type shit. It's like
contractually, you're very happy, but no, you were not entitled to me. But well, person would never see this because they block. But I'm so fucking shady. I'm shady as fuck. But no, but in all seriousness, like that did remind me of like hearing those words and at the table drinking whiskey or something, whatever it was, and the person was just like, I opened the door for you. I've done everything for you. I'm doing everything for you. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like robots that you push buttons into and then you get your order.
1,000. Little man. 0 to 1,000. I'm sorry, I'm shady as fuck. I'm shady today. I'm sorry.
When it comes to like anything being done for them, like a barber, hey, don't fuck with my hairline, yeah. You sat down,
yeah.
And if you treated that shit the way a lot of niggas treat sex, a barber can just do whatever the fuck you want to your hair, and you're supposed to just take it. But no, they understand consent when they're feeling like uncomfortable with even the concept of a man hitting on them if they're straight.
Yeah.
They understand that, like, oh, hey, respect my fucking space, bitch. Like, don't be just harassing. Like, you don't know if I want that. But with women, it's just you should be gracious for.
Yeah, I should have been very gracious to be in that person's presence. No.
It's like it's never the energy of like, yo, how can I be more comfortable, or like, yo, do you even like me? It's not even that. And it's like get back to the fear of rejection. Like
I don't believe that people like that actually like the people that they're doing that to, because if you really did, you wouldn't feel like you own that person. Like when I like somebody, I don't feel like I own them. Like, no, I don't own you. But you know, like no.
There's energy too, where some people like the concept of finessing someone out something. Like, oh, I finessed out some pussy, I finessed some money out of it. Like, some people are like that. Like their mindset is like, what do I gotta do? Just like, and that's why a lot of things either don't get called rape or the police don't investigate, or like we argue about what not even like is it wrong, but more so like should a person have expected to have ended up in a situation? Because a lot of times when we talk about rape culture, we talk about what you call it, oh, what she was wearing, or this like that type of language about in rape culture and denying victims. It's this concept of not even like, oh, you know niggas are predators, and like you know they look at you like prey. So what did you expect when you put yourself in this position? Like, whatever is like, you can be butt fucking naked in the middle of like the street. They don't like if someone does something to you, they're still in the wrong. Even if you're like you made yourself a bigger target, no one had to shoot at you. Like it's not like raining from the sky and you should have ducked for cover. Like at the end of the day, if someone does something to you that's wrong, that's wrong. No matter how much you want to perceive them as like putting like we can all talk about discernment for anything, but at the end of the day, if someone is trying to do something wrong to you, then ultimately they're the wrong ones. They just
Yeah.
have to choose you versus someone else.
Okay. All right. So our next topic is about the Michigan teen who went into his school about a week and a half ago now, and shot and killed 4 students. And I keep forgetting how many students he injured.
7.
7. Okay. Um, his parents were arrested and held accountable for his actions. Basically they claimed he was getting bullied. I'm not going to sit here and say he wasn't. He did look like a little kind of a pipsqueak. And I can see him getting bullied, but I can also see him getting bullied because he was a Trump supporter. I'm sorry. If you're in, like, was it Detroit, who voted blue, and you think you're gonna roll up into class with your Trump shit, they're gonna bully the fuck out of you. I'm sorry, because y'all bully the fuck out of liberals and progressives. So I don't want to hear it. I'm not saying bullying is right, people. Before anybody gets mad, I am not saying bullying is right. But let's be real. Donald Trump bullied people for 4 years, actually more than that. And that is the person that he supports. So, I mean, he's being a snowflake. But my thing is this though. Just because you're being bullied doesn't mean that you have to go and kill people. Like, I was bullied in school and I didn't go around killing people. Like, I mean, when I say I was bullied, I was fucking bullied. I was bullied just because I was Muslim. I had my scarf snatched off my head. I've had people try to push me down the stairs. I've had like the worst things you can think of. Okay, so I never said, you know what? Let me get a gun and shoot everybody. No, you know what I did? I went home, turned on the radio, and worked on my singing. That's what the fuck I did. Because, like, I value human life. Like, yeah, you could be a fucked up person to me, but your life is still valuable to somebody. You have parents, you have someone that loves you. And who am I to take you away from them? You know what I mean? But his parents, they bought that gun for him. I wholeheartedly believe that they bought that gun for him. 4 days before the shooting, he buys that. You buy it for him. And then you're in the office talking to the people, and you refuse to take your son home knowing that he's having a mental crisis. He's drawing bullets on paper and claiming it's just for a video game. No. You do that on the computer in like dad's studio or some shit. You don't do it in art class, not even for a sketch. I'm sorry. That's disturbing. And I'm glad that the school's being held accountable too, because they knew too. They could have expelled him. Like, but no, y'all kept him and sent him on right back to class. And next thing you know, people are falling from bullets and hiding and having to barricade themselves. And I feel like at this point in time in this world, when I do finally have kids, they will be homeschooled, because I'm not losing my children to some ignorant ass children that y'all can't control and that y'all don't realize are depressed. Like, y'all gotta start looking at your fucking kids. I'm sorry, go. I'm gonna let you have it because I'm getting mad.
They said that more and more Black parents, especially more and more people outside of are just getting outside of the school system. And I do want more funding for public schools, but at the same time, like, public schools need to pick shit up and stop allowing themselves to be just fuck shit institutions. Because like the teachers are underpaid, like they just continue to let shit slide and then continue to fuel shit like charter schools and private schools, which have their own issues too, with wanting to teach whatever the fuck they want to teach and not wanting to teach anything that they feel will traumatize their kids when it comes to, like, oh, learning about racism, slavery. But I'm like, it's traumatizing for the kids to have to dodge bullets like they do in the fucking Navy.
Yeah, like have to learn how to barricade a door on the first day of school. Like that's fucking ridiculous. Like my kids will not. No.
Bulletproof vest and like extra small to large and shit. Like, but then they probably like, nah, they don't buy that. We can't sell that shit. But it's wild to me that like I think like in the same way that like when and I'm against it whenever they do this to niggas, but in the same way that they'll charge niggas when they're committing a robbery or whatever and comes and kills one of them, and they charge the niggas that was with them with murder for making the cop have to kill a nigga. To me, that's one of the most ridiculous shit in the world. But want to deter more like if we're not gonna because like right after this happened, the GOP in like Michigan immediately put like shit on the books to ban any type of gun reform and shit like that. They move swiftly, like you ain't gonna basically the same energy that we have for Sandy Hook where we didn't do shit, we're having that same energy.
We still ain't gonna do shit. And that hurts my nerves. Cause like Biden could definitely fix this. I'm sorry. Oh my God. So yes, Biden can fix this.
That little fly over there.
Look, no, it's one of those damn gnats because we're trying to like let the bananas like get to the way it needs to be for banana pudding over here. So forgive me. No, but in all seriousness though, Biden, what are we doing? You haven't fixed student loans. You haven't done shit. Huh?
Like can't claim bankruptcy for student loans.
I cannot.
Biden's the reason you can't claim bankruptcy for student loans.
You said he what?
He's the reason you can't claim bankruptcy over your student loans and shit like that.
Well, see, I don't have student loans, so I have no idea what that means.
Biden, when you see Biden, just think of him as a Republican that's a little bit nicer to niggas, and not even, but
not even that. Because remember when he said you're not black if you don't vote for me.
Yeah, Charlie, you ain't black if you niggas don't vote.
Not the two progressives doing the most. I'm sorry, but no. Let me just go back to the Michigan scene though. Why did his parents go on the run?
Because I guess I don't because parents don't normally get charged, but to me it's so wild that they told the police, oh yeah, that's what. But you know what's the funniest thing? Not only did they buy their kid not just a pistol, a fucking semi-automatic pistol.
Yeah.
This isn't like, and for me, like, I'm actually not against, like, I'm all for more background checks for guns and more universal background checks. But at the same time, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, get rid of guns. Like, especially as long as you're fucking happy to murder motherfuckers, police have guns, as long as your military is out here murdering people, brown people over in other countries. Until we fucking demilitarize those motherfuckers, I'm not against the guns or anything like that. I'm not for that shit. But I'm for the people who like love guns and stuff like that, and you love it for hunting, you love it for recreation, you love it for self-defense and home defense. I get all that shit, but for you to get your 15-year-old a fucking semi-automatic gun. Guns, at the end of the day, no matter how you feel about them, are weapons of fucking death.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I was like, is there a Christmas theme going on?
No, that's me. That was me.
I was like, what, the pure funds? But as the commercial was running, like, whoa.
No, that was me. That would have been coincidental timing. Nah, but yeah, that's crazy to buy your child that. Like, put him in karate, ninjutsu.
They bought him a gun. They texted him about the shit that the teachers complained about him searching him and all that. Like, haha, don't get caught next time. And it's amazing. Like, it's very telling. The reason they ran, that they knew when they saw the report about school shooting, they knew it was him. For them to text, don't do it. For them to call the police and say, we think it's our son, they knew. That's why they ran.
They should have called the school. One should have had their cell phone calling the school, and the other one should have been calling 911.
They should have showed up. They should have showed up.
No. They would have took their happy ass time. No. They should have called the school because the school, they're there. He's there at the school. They should have been able to have been warned.
You should also call him like, yo, son, I know you're not doing what the fuck I think you're doing. Do we have to get down to that story now?
You said what?
If I was them, I would have, like, instead of just texting, I would have called this fucking ass. But while we're driving there, like,
they knew what he was going to do. They planned it. They let him take the gun. They knew he had the gun.
Also, I don't think they thought he was going to do it.
Yes, they did.
I do wonder what they thought was going to happen to their son, because like for him to already be wilding like that in school, and it's not like school shootings don't happen. It's not like mass shootings. We have a mass shooting like every day. We have a school shooting like every week. Like you know this happens. So like, were you just waiting for him to go to the military and learn some discipline? We're waiting for him to just like marry and become like some like violent husband one day.
No, he was going to become a damn asshole shooter that goes into a grocery store and kills up a bunch of people. Wait, I think something is happening.
Yeah, maybe
with the internet. Yeah, was I frozen? Were you frozen? You were frozen.
I saw you kind of, but it could be my internet. Who knows?
Okay, because I'm okay.
What are you saying?
They knew what he was going to do. They gave him the gun. They probably even showed him how to empty the fucking clip, put it back in, all of that. That's right. So yeah, like
your pet said, get them. Get them. Get them. But yeah, no. And what's also funny to me is like, I know for me, like I was in 7th grade when 9/11 happened. And then by the time I'm in high school, so 9th grade, I'm already going through motherfucking metal detectors. I'm already going through, our shit is going through a scanner in the book bag and shit like that. You mean to tell me all these years later, as much cops as I got in school, ain't nobody searched this motherfucker's bag? After they was brought to the office for searching ammunition, after his parents come up, do they not mention that he has?
Maybe they, what if they did search the bag though? And what if his parents gave it to him after the fucking meeting? That's what I'm saying. They gave him that gun.
I think he probably stole it because I don't think I can't imagine parents who are that like bugged out to want their kid to.
Are you serious? They ran.
They ran.
Why they ran?
You know how white people don't talk like white people won't talk about like the people in the family.
I'm gonna hurt you, Ren.
They's like, oh, you know, my grandma's racist. Oh yeah, we have an uncle. He touches things sometimes. But like they they just conceal. But I think
no. I'm gonna tell you what's going on. What my theory is. I know this gonna sound wild, but I think they gave him that gun, and the reason they ran was because once he was already arrested and booked and all that, they knew he was going to tell. So they ran their happy asses to that friend's house who had no fucking clue what was going on. No clue. And you know what? I wonder if he knew what was going on. I wonder if he knew. Because now your ass is in trouble for aiding and abetting a damn criminal.
Here's what I don't think that they knew that, but I think that they knew it would like once they knew he was caught and he was allowed, they're like, all right, sacrifice. We're dipping the fuck out. That's how I feel. They're quick to like if shit starts hitting the fan, they're gonna snitch. They're gonna snitch.
You ever heard of parents dipping the fuck out after a school shooting?
Their kids and loved ones, but the second is like, oh shit, the consequence of my action coming back.
Yeah, because
it's time to go. It's time to go. And I think that's why. But I just find it very funny for there's a difference between liking guns and even loving guns and then seeing it as a part of your identity. And I think this is one of those cases where, and it's very interesting that the people who most identify with guns, and of course there are niggas who identify with guns and glorify the fuck out of that shit too. and there's problematic shit in there too. Even on top of the whole, how are we going to live and survive and make means for ourselves in a fucked up white supremacist system? But at the same time, are you also going to contribute to it? But I find it very interesting that the people who run whole political parties dedicated to the identity and identifying with guns, like as a part of their family tree, it's very interesting that those are the type of people who have a legacy of everything from slavery to lynchings to sundown towns to race riots to burning down towns, all that shit. It's very fun. It's very interesting that you feel the gun is like your forefather, basically.
I just, you know what I wish though? I wish that they didn't take out the extracurricular activities because like I feel like that did keep a lot of people grounded even when like bad stuff was happening because they could put all that energy into something else like cooking. And I used to do step class and different things, but now these kids, they just go to school, come home, do homework. They don't have a minute to really think. Like, yeah, they'll get on TikTok, but like that's toxic too, like seeing other people that you are considered pretty and all that, like, and you're like, how come I can't get as many views as this person? Like it all goes into each other, and it's just this world is so fucked up. Like I said, my kids will not be going to schools, like a school building. No, it will be homeschool. I
I
can't.
think I might have to go to high school though, because I don't want my kids being the weird kind of homeschool that's not socialized right, and so they have developmental issues with
Oh
people.
no, my kids are gonna have friends.
Okay.
One thing I will make sure is that once they're done with their homework and their schoolwork, go outside, have fun, meet people. I'll take you to the mall. I'll take you to like these little events, like extracurricular activities. You can meet friends, and that way they don't have to be like, oh, I'm not socialized and all that. No, I want my kids to be socialized, but I want them to be alive. The only way I want to lose my child is if it's by a disease or something, because I can't, I don't know if I would be able to like not kill the parents of the child that killed mine. I'm gonna take your parents away, you take my child away. And then once you have your court date and you see there's nobody there, you'll know exactly how I feel. I'm gonna kill your parents. I'm sorry. So kill my child if you want to. Kill him. No, let me stop. I'm gonna have to edit that out.
Special set of skills.
They're gonna be like, she said she gonna kill people parents. No, but I don't think I would be able to live with that heartbreak. You know what I mean? Like that's heartbreaking to lose your child. And I'm not gonna get into that. But yeah.
I feel like this problem is going to continue until we do real, like, not just background check, like, in the same way that you had to get all types of, like, paperwork and classes to fucking drive a car. Something that is also lethal in the wrong hands, and can cause all kinds of damage, but at the end of the day, it's not designed to be a weapon primarily. For a gun, which is designed to be a weapon primarily, there should be all kinds of background checks, all kinds of things like that. If you're getting for someone, they need to take all kinds of psychological. Like, I can respect people who want their kids to know how to shoot, and like that's a bonding thing for that family. They hunt, all that stuff, especially if they're gonna hunt rather than just do it as trophies. But like by the time, like, just common sense shit, nothing extra, nothing like taking no beta or bullshit, but just common sense shit that people want to resist because they, again, the issue of entitlement, again, that shit. But moving on to some other shady shit. our boy, our Lord-loving, prosperity gospel motherfucker, Joel Osteen.
Wait. Joel Osteen, the man who let hurricane victims in, who always lets hurricane victims in.
Always. Because what else would God want?
Yeah.
The storm, what is an ark for but shutting all of them up?
Ooh,
Yeah. But Joel Osteen and his Lakewood megachurch, they were blessed, I guess, to have found money that has been missing from them for 7 years. 7 years is a very, in the Bible, it's a very biblical holy number. 7 years, 7 days it took to create the planet and all that, or whatever, create the universe. Seven. They had a dream of 7 years of prosperity and 7 years of famine and help save the children of Israel by being appointed to take care of all that. Seven is very important. And 2014, they lost, or not lost, stolen. They said simply stolen. $600,000 was stolen from them. And 7 years later, magical holy number. They were fortunate that a custodian, someone doing some kind of repairs, found within their walls.
I think he was like a handyman.
Yeah, like a repairman.
Yeah.
And it's within their walls. The money that was stolen from them has been returned to them.
Child, that's some bullshit. I'm sorry, that is some damn bullshit. It was returned to them. No, it was found. I like it. I like that, after all that bullshit he did with Hurricane Henry, was it Henry or Irma?
It was one of them.
It was one of those. And you not letting the parishioners in? The parishioner? Child, I'm just watching the karma befall his ass. Because I have always thought that Joel Osteen was fucking shady. Like, it's always something wrong with him. Like, you're getting jets and all this, like, and nah, I ain't gonna tell that because I'm gonna get in trouble if I tell something about another preacher that I know of, the ex wife. But
this is the time to confess.
No, I can't. Like in all seriousness, that will be like a bad thing for me to do on this show right here, because but they know who they are. They know the family knows me. Doodle don't. But no, I wasn't he doing something for Trump? I'm just really watching this karma.
I do know that like it's very telling that like there's so much to unpack here with the scammer.
It is.
Oh, so Mary J. Blige. I see some scammeration and damnation, heaven they won't see. Like,
but I want to know who put it in the wall. Who did that? Who knocked the hole in the wall and then plastered over it? Like, you know how much work it takes to speckle and make sure it looks absolutely perfect. I have watched my dad and this do that. It's a lot. And for you to be like $600,000 and then you reported it stolen.
And what's very interesting, adding to the scam nation. So think about this. Think about if you got $600,000 stolen from the house of the Lord. What would a pastor do? He would tell his congregation. And then what would they do? He would fundraise more tithe and offering to make up for this abuse that has happened in the house of God.
The house of God. I'm sorry, let me not, because I might get struck by lightning.
There's also a $5,000 reward for information leading to an arrest for whoever stole it. So they also had a fundraise.
See, that's that bullshit I was talking about. Like, I cannot stand him. But he gave like, what was it, $20,000 to the handyman that found it. I'm like, you paying them all. You paying them all. Because he was going to say, I know y'all put this shit in the wall. He probably can tell who put it in there. It was Joel Osteen. His weird ass put that shit in the wall. He put it in the wall. And then he told his peoples to say it was stolen so they can get more money. And they were gonna go back for it eventually. No, when all hell broke loose with the church, he was gonna go on that wall and take that 600,000 and get the fuck. That's what he was doing. Oh, he is wild.
Because for you to do that, especially if it was him, allegedly.
It was him.
Oh yeah. Say allegedly for the worst friend. But
allegedly.
Like, I wonder if it was like for it to be now that is so found so recently in the whole COVID era and the pandemic era, it makes you wonder if someone's been eating into that rainy day fund. Because remember how hard pressed all the pastors to have their churches reopen? And it's not like, oh, the community of church is lost now. What are we gonna do in the face of COVID? And it's not like, oh my God, so many people are tuning in when we're live streaming us. Oh my God, we need the churches open. They were concerned about the time, especially for a motherfucker who preaches prosperity gospel, which is like one of the reasons people don't even believe in shit no more, because these niggas that are taking the life savings of old ladies, that are telling people to keep in the pandemic, when you will have lost your job and are making nothing, on your Kenny Copeland shit saying, don't you lose faith in God, you keep returning your tithe. What is zero? It's fucking zero. What tithe you have to give? And one of the things that made me a whole Christian socialist is just thinking about how, when we talk about like the mutual aid work I do, where people are pooling their money together, or like trying to fundraise money to help the homeless, the unhoused, to help people who are dealing with abuse and need to like move somewhere new and like get out of like fucked up situations. Like people who are being evicted and like don't know where to go, like trying to save people from destitution, all types of shit. And I think about what these little communities are trying to do. And you think about a church that regularly has money, and like I don't have a problem with tithe in the sense that like the pastor's supposed to get paid all the time. But for your pastor to be a multimillionaire, for your pastor to have a church that is bigger than a fucking stadium, for your pastor to have jets, Lambos, furniture that costs more than some people's home, like at that point, you've lost the plot. At that point, you are on your Pharisees and Sadducees bullshit. At that point, you are nothing but a motherfucking pyramid scheme, and I'm alone. Like,
of course it is. It is. Like that's why like I'm not Christian, but like my mom does go to Union Temple, and I have worked with Reverend Willie Wilson, like doing like different things in the church, like little programs I would help. And, I did a technology class before there. I appreciate him because he's not running around in the Lambos. Most of that money goes back to the church. It does. That church is very clean. It's always clean. I don't think I've ever even seen a fly in there. Like, he's not running around telling you that you have to give tithes. You don't to, but if you want to give, go ahead. And I appreciate him and his wife and his daughter because at least they're doing things for the community as well. Like it's not like they're just going around just hoarding that money and living in like a humongous mansion, all that. It's like, no, like when there was like crime going on around here, not around here in my neighborhood, but in DC, they started doing like walks. And I believe they did like some type of meeting to like, what can we do for this community to make sure that it can be safer for everybody? Because I believe like maybe a teenager or a child was killed or something like that. I'd have to look back into it. But yeah, like they do stuff for the community. I don't ever hear about Joel Osteen doing that. So where's that money?
Joel Osteen, Kenny Copeland, Paula White, those are probably the other people you can ask, what are you willing to do for your community? What are you doing for the local community? Because like, well, when it comes to hurricane, I let God test their faith. How about that?
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you look, even in the Bible, it'd be on some common as shit. Like Jesus spent his whole life as a poor man who lived off the kindness of the people he was helping to heal. Notice people would give them money, but he wasn't out here charging motherfuckers for miracles. He wasn't out
Exactly.
here, he was out here taking the least, breaking that shit up, and then feeding multitudes as an inspiration for people. He was saying the fucking poor shall be the first, the meek, the last that's in this society should be the first. When he saw in the temple that they were overcharging motherfuckers, he fucking chased the motherfuckers out of the temple. Like we talk about Jesus, like
he flipped the table over. That's why I always hear that story that he
yeah,
flipped the fucking table. I'm sorry.
he did. He did. He did.
You know how you you know, I cussed when I was talking about it. I might get like I might have a seizure or some shit on the damn cat. No,
Fisherman.
Mhm.
He turned them into fishers of men. He knew when he first met them, they were talking all kinds, and he's like, "Listen, we gonna work that out in due time. Don't even be worried about it. It's all good.
Yeah.
We don't gotta be the cursing pastor up in here, like motherfucking Jesus. We don't gotta do that." Well, like, I'm sure God, if whatever is up there, has heard all kinds of the languages. He understands.
He loves me, I think.
Yeah, he loves us all. But the people who are out here preaching on some like, if you truly want to be blessed, if you give, so can we give to you? How can you receive your miracle if you withhold from my loving embrace? You know, type shit. Like, but yeah, in Acts chapter 2 and 4, on the day of Pentecost, when I was gonna say when the apostles got the Holy Spirit, they were driven and transformed into multilingual communists who pooled their resources together to take care of one another and to fund the work. And that's what got so many people inspired. Like, that's what grew the church like that in the early days of like Christianity before like Emperor Constantine took it over and made it the money pit that it is today. But I'm tired of going to churches where the most common testimony is, you know, I was really struggling this week. I like had bills. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I prayed though and had faith. And like luckily, like not luck, miracle. No luck here. Practically, I was able to pay this bill. Like at some point, this can't be the only miracles that we like. At some point, we need to return back to people like however much is coming in should also go to take care of the needs of people. And if you really wanted to evangelize people, you can't do no judging people shit today in 2021. But if people saw that you were out here taking care of people, like we're getting into abortion a little bit, but do you know how many people that you don't want to have abortions if you were actually out here taking care of the groceries, taking care of their medical bills, helping with their rent? You would have so many of those fetuses, those babies that you want to save. Economics is the main reason, whether they don't have enough or they don't want to be stuck with somebody that's abusive or controlling, whatever. Motherfuckers would be able to make different decisions. There's literally a group called like Save Unborn Life, and I don't necessarily agree with everything, but at least that's the right idea of like we will help, we will step in a way like they're willing to give like $3,000 towards any like woman. I forgot where they're based, but Save Unborn Life is willing to give like $3,000 to like women so that they'll be willing to have their child rather than abort it. And it's like and when we get into the abortion thing later, like Christians don't even wallow on that because the Bible doesn't like, but just think of how much good could be done, how much people would actually see Christ in you if the spirit you had was the same spirit of giving that Christ and the early apostles had. Like, if more people were living that kind of life, the world would literally be a better place. The things you say people would get out of religion or just out of like being a philosophical and ideological humanistic person, we would have that if centers that are literally taking all this money in and preaching to people all the time actually return that type of energy rather than just allowing them to be another institution that's here to tax you and snatch money out your pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in a pandemic, especially when people are losing their job, especially when that base of people who aren't willing to take vaccines and shit like that, like especially when those people, like my mom, she's not working because she's not vaccinated, and I'm sure she's still returning in time, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna press her on it. She's gonna live her life. She has her fate. But I'm just like, so much more can be done, and it's not like the church doesn't do certain things. Like they're big in like helping people, you know, clean their eating habits so that they can like cut back on the need for medications and the need and the type of diseases they have. But you can go so much further than that. If like, especially if you believe if you believe the last days are coming, if you believe the end is near and all that, how much money does your building fund really need? You know, like way more of those funds can go into way more different things that would truly show like you're building your institution in that community as not just some insular thing that's happy only because they all believe the same thing, but that's also happy to share the blessings with everyone else.
Yeah. So let's rock back to abortion. Since you were talking about that, so like the Supreme Court decided that they were going to allow the lawsuit that's challenging the whole Texas abortion ban, but it's still going to stand. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, this shouldn't have passed, period. Like, I don't understand what old ass, crotchety ass white men, why they have such a fascination with making us breed. Like, I really feel bad for the women over there and in Alabama. I feel I don't know how I would feel every time I would have sex. And like you can get sex, I mean you can get pregnant even if you have sex with a condom. Like, and the fear that must be going through a lot of these girls' minds to think, oh man, what happens if I'm having sex, even if I'm protected, birth control fails, and I want to get an abortion and I can't. And it sucks because now, well, not now, but they're saying that, you know, the Lyft drivers, Uber drivers, if they take them to the abortion clinic, they get arrested. Like,
So their little whistleblower, like snitchathon.
yeah, it's just so, it's disgusting. I don't understand. Like, I'm gonna be honest, when I was younger, like I used to be anti-abortion when I was like 12 kid, I don't know shit. But I remember like my dad was in the car with me. He was taking me to school, and he used to listen to the radio, and they were talking about abortion, and I was like, yeah, I'm against this because we shouldn't be killing babies, because that's what I'm learning in school. I'm going to a Muslim private school, so of course that was, you know, I'm learning. And my dad is like, no. And now my dad's Muslim. He's like, no, that's not right, because you have to think about these women's bodies. They do have to make this choice for themselves. It can be a health issue where the mother could die, or the baby might just not be what's it called, valuable,
Viable.
viable. He's like, what about little girls that get raped? and get pregnant by like a family member, or just rape period and get pregnant. Like, or not even just little girls, you know. He broke it down to a 12-year-old me, and that changed my mind drastically about it, because I'm like, damn, I didn't think about that, because why would I want to hold a baby in my stomach from someone who did something violent to me, you know? So if I can save my life, yeah, I will get an abortion. I will. I sure will. So so I feel bad. And I don't understand what the fascination and the obsession is with controlling our bodies. Like, you don't have to carry these babies for 9 months and have to suffer from preeclampsia, eclampsia. Preeclampsia, preeclampsia.
Yeah, it's okay.
You don't have to suffer from it. You don't have to have complications at birth. Like, y'all are so fucking selfish. And that comes from entitlement. We're rounding right back to entitlement. Male fucking entitlement. Because they can walk the fuck off.
Most things in this world come back to entitlement.
You said what?
The problem with most things in this world comes back to entitlement and power, especially male empowerment entitlement.
Oh,
Especially white male power entitlement.
because it definitely was some white males. It was some white males, but in all seriousness, this is so stupid. Like, how do you go to jail for having a miscarriage?
And what's funny?
It makes no fucking sense to me.
For people who claim that they only care about this or want this so bad because of the Bible, literally in the Bible, like in Exodus 21, when it talks about like, oh, if like the Bible has rules for everything, especially the Old Testament. And in the Old Testament, right there in Exodus 21, it said like if men are fighting and like a man hits a woman in the belly and causes her miscarriage, it is a fine. So back in the Bible, miscarriages were fines. And if he struck her and like it killed her, then he would be executed. So it recognized a difference. And in the Bible, they had abortion.
Like, yeah, I heard that. I
think it's Numbers 5. I can't remember what verse, but in Numbers is literally if you think your wife is cheating on you and you think the baby belongs to the man that she's cheating on you with, you go to the priest. He makes her drink some toxic mixture, and if the baby if it's from the other man, the baby's gonna rot and drop out. And if it's your baby, then God prays the baby is okay.
Man, so, that's just another way to kill off women. That's so stupid. God, I'm sorry. I don't mean to say the Bible is stupid, but come on.
That is stupid. Think about that. Even then, there's still a patriarchal sense to it in that sense, especially. But even then, like, it's not like abortion was recently invented. It's like, as long as there have been people, as long as there have been babies, as long as there, like, in the same way there's always been crime, there's always been, like, inequality, there's always been strife, there's also always been a need to abort for whatever reason, especially when you talk about couples, especially when you talk about people trying to take control of someone who holds either financial or some other type of power over them. So this has always been a thing. And the times that you do see it in the Bible, even that is still like, is clearly not the same thing as murdering someone. And then when people who say, well, boil it all down to the 10 Commandments say, thou shalt not kill. First of all, don't forget, we're reading the English version of this bullshit. Not to call it Bible bullshit. I believe in it. But we're reading
I didn't even realize you said that.
The version in the Bible it's not translated as kill, it's thou shalt not murder. And it makes a distinction between going and fighting in war. Because if you believe it was clearly just, you wouldn't support all those cops who be killing niggas and be like, I fear for my life. You wouldn't be supporting that. I'd be like, clearly it says thou shalt not kill. So ACAT bit, you wouldn't be support of our military, like, oh, God bless the troops. Oh, 9/11. Oh, we gotta get it back. You wouldn't be in support of that if you really believe thou shalt not kill. You wouldn't be happy to buy guns for self-defense, just waiting like, oh, I see that nigga on the camera. Please, please, bro. I cannot wait. I've been waiting for this. This is what I bought these for. You wouldn't be like that if you was really like, but thou shalt not kill them. You know, like people clearly understand there's a difference. They just want to be ignorant for the sake of being able to control women, for the sake of being able to extend their legacy by any way. And these same people also use abortion with their mistresses and whoever else when they don't want
to say it too. You got me before I could.
If you were 100% like, I will never. I no way means
like, but here's his 650. So you can go and get that baby taken out of you, okay? Yeah. Like, no. Because isn't there a commandment about cheating? Or is that just like
oh yeah. Those other commandments don't seem to matter to people at all.
They don't.
The thou shalt not kill seems to be specifically, especially for fetuses. That like,
oh man.
As a nation founded on slavery, we killed a lot of niggas. We didn't have no problems with that. We even considered it as 3/5 of a human being and pretended that these niggas didn't have souls until it was time to save their souls to make them slaves.
Yeah, but I thought we didn't have souls. But how do you have a soul to save? I like that. I like that.
3/5 of a human, then you get 3/5 of a soul, and you get that last, 2/5. All right, we'll let you niggas pray, but to Jesus. I don't care whatever fucking God you had before. Jesus.
Yeah. Jesus. Like, because a lot of them were Muslim when they came here, and y'all took that away. Like, I'm glad my great grandfather kept his, because he even like spoke Arabic. Like,
what's another thing we don't talk about when we talk about the Islamophobia in this country? Like, it didn't just start at 9/11. Like, this shit has been there, and this shit's been there since like founding this country, because since before the founding of this country, since the Crusades, because these motherfuckers know anything that threatened their power and their ability to, and again, still Christian, but at the end of the day, if we're gonna be able to practice theology of the oppressed, we have to acknowledge the theology of oppression that's also existed and that continues to exist since this country is full of like Christian fascists and nationalists. So, like, we gotta acknowledge where is fear of other religions, is fear of like, and also when we talk about the Catholic Church and how heavily they were pushing being against abortion and being against the contraceptions back in the day, is also to make sure that their numbers were high enough to compete with Protestants, compete with all the other religions out there too. So all types of things that influence this hate for a lot of women that get abortions that goes just beyond the Bible. Like, no, and that's why I say everything's political. There's all kinds of little political and controlling interests that have been there from like years and years going back, that just because we're in a different part of time, we don't necessarily remember the nuances of shit, but it all through the generations leads us back here.
Yeah, but you know what my dad said, and he said that in Texas this has nothing to do with religion, like at all. He's like, they found that they were declining in population, like white people were, so they want to keep white women from having abortions because they are the ones having abortions. They definitely are. So I believe that's probably what's going on. They're like, oh no, we can't decline. We can't let Spanish people and Blacks out race us, because that's basically what's happening there, is that, it's a lot of them coming in and like they're declining, they're dying, they're not having babies because they can't fucking afford it. Like, I wish they would realize that before they try to just keep people from having babies. Like, fix the minimum wage, fix pay, fix all of it, where people can have somewhere to live. And then they'd be like, you know what? I'm set. Let me go ahead and pop this for a real one. And I'm going to go ahead and get pregnant. Like, imagine if we didn't have to pay for healthcare and we didn't have to like worry.
Yeah.
I probably would have popped a couple of I'm playing up. No, but
because like when I was 24, I was ready to be a dad. Like now, it's like with this climate change, with this COVID, we'll see.
I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm sorry.
It's real shit. Like, there's a reason. Like, people aren't getting married as much. People aren't having kids as much. There's a reason all this shit is happening, but especially in the Apocalypse Olympics, instead of actually talking about this shit and what we can do to improve, people who want to hold on to power are just focusing on themselves. Like, in a time of great inequality and people finally becoming awake and aware of it, you have the option of either having a socialist revolution that will increase benefits for all people, or a fascist revolution where a very select minority that is trying to hold on to power finds a way to sneak in and fucking makes it worse for everybody else, so that they can have their moment in the sun before everything crumbles in the darkness. And that's what we're moving into. That we could be going the opposite direction and improve shit for everyone else. But our country is so obsessed with profit, so obsessed with power, so obsessed with its own entitlement that despite being the home of freedom and all that propaganda, we tell ourselves as like a great slave-owning nation. We're moving in the fascist direction, and we bring people along with shit that appeals to them on either an ideological or religious level, with things like abortion, with things like immigration reform, and all types of other shit that, like, if you sat and thought about, it's like, you know, I'm sure there's a way to make this work for everybody. And it's like, nah, fuck that. I need to make it work for me.
But you know what? This is gonna be like my last take on this. If they had that here, I like at least back probably like a decade ago. No, probably like way past a decade ago. Over a decade ago, I would have been a fucking criminal. So I would have been a criminal 2 times over. And I think about that sometimes with this, and I'm like, that's just because I can't even think. Not only did I lose my child, but now I'm about to lose my freedom. It's just not cool. But yeah.
Even whether it's out of religion or just out of like tradition or whatever type of belief it is about people, we gotta also, the way we talk about everything from miscarriages, abortions, everything, we gotta come from a place of like what's gonna be best to nurture for that family, whether they are going to grow their family or not. Like, I remember with one of my past exes, when the first time I ever went with someone to get an abortion, just how guilty I felt, especially as the religious one, knowing better and shit like that, and put them in that position. And then also, like, in my head, I'm telling myself, like, oh yeah, I know God forgives, but like, at the same time, like, but nigga, you know, and shit like that. And the type of like fucking darkness it put me in for like a few years and shit like that. And like, we have people walking around with that type of guilt. And then we also have people who exploit that guilt to cause people to rally around this idea that, like, that's not really limiting women's rights, it's protecting the fetus. The same people, and again, it's so wild to me, the same people who are okay with lynching children and grown adults give a fuck about the sanctity of life for not even just their own white people's fetuses, but everybody else's fetuses. Like, it's so fucking wild.
Yeah.
But talk about the sanctity of life and segue into a very unfortunate situation with Nick Cannon. His youngest son, Zen, lost her life very young.
Yeah, 5 months. Yeah.
Yeah, from brain cancer.
Yeah.
And we've already, McCann's already come under fire for people calling out, not just even like polygamy is one thing, but like it seems less even like polygamy, like and this whole just like creating families all over the place, especially with all the either mixed race, racially ambiguous, or white women.
Yeah.
Not to come at him at a time that's hard for him and that he's just trying to work through, whether it's to keep his mind off or just to keep the funds coming in or whatever. I hope this what's happening makes him take some time to reconsider doing what he's doing and just impregnating new women to continue his legacy because he's afraid he'll die soon. Like he's got basically a death sentence from the doctor that in a few years he can go at any moment. But especially if like you're acting in this way because you're afraid or you recognize that you could die any minute, you should also recognize that in all these kids that you're creating, you are also passing off genetic material that, and not to be no eugenic shit, like, oh, certain people shouldn't have kids, but the way you're just popping kids up all over the place
Yeah.
without consideration for, hey, this is also could potentially happen with other families that you're creating. And like maybe take a moment and like introspect on that. Like take a moment to like do some real family planning. Like, yeah, you got money, but like how much family planning is really going on with these women that you're picking probably just because they're beautiful and they're down to be a part of your parent and be part of
Like I think he's
your genes.
chasing like what he had with Mariah because a lot of these women look like Mariah. I'm gonna be honest. And even though Mariah Carey is black, it's like
For a lot of white people, they don't even know she's black.
dang,
A lot of
yeah.
white people probably still know that she's black. So there's a lot of people who don't know that Mariah Carey is black.
How do they not know that?
Listen, people, especially in racist ass America, people just go off of what
Oh,
they see.
they just think she's just some white woman who can sing.
Yeah,
No, she's black.
that's ours. Don't you claim her?
She's a black woman. And she proudly will tell your ass, I am black. Okay. But in all seriousness, I do feel really bad for him because I had a friend who lost her child at like I don't think he reached his first birthday. And that was tragic. He was murdered. He was murdered before y'all think this child died from sickness. No, he was actually murdered. I'm not gonna get into the situation. But it's very sad to watch them go because like they need to watch him. He needs to definitely go to therapy. Not saying my friend didn't go to therapy. I'm just saying that she has gone down a road of a belief system. Now, I don't know if it's because of that. I don't know. And I'm not going to say it is, but definitely watch his mental state because that's something different. That is it's different from losing your parents. But he does have to think, what am I passing down? Like I said, that's why a lot of people actually get like genetics tests because I know I'm going to have to do that because I have autoimmune disorders. So I want to make sure that my kids do not get that. Like I want to make sure that I don't pass that on to them because I don't want them to have to suffer like I have. Like I want them to live a normal life, go and travel whenever they feel like it and just do what they want to do. I don't want them to have to be bogged down with something I gave them, literally. Like I gave this to you genetically. But also you have to be careful of what other people have in their genetic lineup. Because maybe in her genetic lineup, hydrocephaly and cancer, is it hydrocephalus? Hydrocephalus and cancer probably ran in her family. And he's just out here just you're pregnant, you get a pregnancy, you get a pregnancy, you get a pregnancy. Like, slow down, my man. Slow down. You know, like it's okay if you have a cult. Go ahead, have your cult as long as you are treating them right. You know, as long as they're paid.
Too many cults.
I mean, I'm not saying have a cult that's dangerous. Because to be honest, Nick Cannon is not hurting me by having a whole bunch of babies. He ain't doing shit to me. There are cults out here that will actually do shit to you, like Charles Manson, his old cult. They kill people. But he wants to have his little pussy cult. Go ahead, please. As long as you don't come to me with the pussy cult. I don't care. Like a lot of people are like really into his business. And I get it, he's a celebrity, it's popular topic, but I don't care what that man's penis goes into, comes into. I don't care because not my family, not my business. It's just not.
I think it does, like, especially when it comes to celebrities, what celebrities do is what influences conversations in regular people, like how we now move and like the things we're open to. And I'm cool with the polygamy and the polyamory shit. It's just like on some baby boy shit. Remember when Jody was like, he's happy he had his son because now even if something happens to him, there's another him running around. Like it's not like your kid is gonna be like, yes, your kid is a part of your legacy, but also it doesn't just stop at having a kid, like or raising a kid. Like
still gotta be
the
raised.
real legacy is that what that kid has taken from you, how they've grown as an individual, and the love and respect y'all have for each other. And a lot of people miss that part because they were just pressed on the being happy when they were young, little, and cute. And like I think I may have mentioned before with my dad and seeing how like when I met him at like 22, and my brother, it's so funny because like we were both going to church that day because my mom arranged it for me to meet him. And I guess I mean, I didn't tell my brother, but I thought maybe she might have told him. And he was just going to church for whatever reason. I was like, oh, well, I'm going because our dad's going to be there. And he's like, what? Yeah. And so he didn't initially come up with me to meet our dad. But like, in talking with him, and as we're going to the stairs, like we're talking in the attic, my brother comes by the steps and he's like, yo, I don't have no problems with you. I don't hate you, but I don't have no respect for you. And then left. And uh, just seeing how fragile my dad was in that
Like,
moment, like how the wind could carry him off. I felt bad for him, but I'm also that's what definitely telling me like, yo, kids are really your legacy. And like anytime I hear like I'll see my dad every now and then, like and he doing his thing. But anytime I hear him complain about one of the, like I got like on his side of the family, besides my brother that I grew up with, for all the siblings I did grow up with and like barely know, like there's like at least 10 of them, if not a dozen, if not more. So whenever I hear him complaining, I try to say in the kindest ways. I want to be just saying, yeah, at the end of the day, these kids are your legacy. And the relationship you have with them is also part of your legacy. And you can't be mad at them for them being mad at you. Whatever beef you have with their mothers, at the end of the day, they weren't here to be a part of that. And any way that they feel that their mothers were being treated is a part of why that resentment is there. So you can't command respect if you weren't there to like instill it.
I think you
And
froze.
if they
Okay.
like they see the way like people were, like at the end of the day, relationship will be a relationship, but there's still a way to conduct yourself and co-parent in a way. And maybe they came in doing all that. I don't know how his relationship. I know he's
I
financially.
mean, I see him with his kids and stuff. Like, I mean, he may not be posting pictures every day, but you don't hear them complaining. You don't hear Mariah complaining. They do little outings and stuff. Like, that's why it's always been rumors that they got back together. But the only reason there is like footage of that is because they're both celebrities. The rest of these girls, they're not, you know. But I think he does spend time with them. But no, I mean, I'll say this. Only thing I don't like about him going around breeding every fucking woman is that how do you split your time though? Like I want to know how he splits his time. That is kind of like they don't get to see you every day and they should, you know?
Yeah.
They definitely should be able to see him every day like a normal child would. Like all these other kids that they're going to go to school with, they're going to have parents that are together, and you know they're going to be like, yeah, I saw my dad today, or my dad did this today, and my dad does this every day. And he's like, I see my dad like every other week.
Yeah.
Like that, and that can take a toll because they'll remember that.
Well, that and also like the Nick Cannon situation is at least like it's at least better than like let's say the Future situation or like the Fetty Wap situation or some of these other situations where they're trying to do the same thing, they're just not calling it that same thing. They're treating it more like, well, that bitch lost out, I'm with the bitch that's winning. And it's like we we complain so much about different things, whether it's homosexuality, whatever it is. Oh, this is the single motherhood. This is the thing destroying the black community, and it's like, especially with single motherhood and calling using that as a scapegoat. It's like, how do you think single mothers become single mothers? Like they don't become single mothers in
Thank
the back.
you.
They don't
Like they
produce.
don't just become single by
They don't
themselves, you know, sperm.
produce. And
Sperm
it's
gets
like,
up in there.
but
Yeah,
also to blame it on shit like
yeah.
one, blame it on gay men, that's just homophobic. And it's also for niggas who love multiple women and love bitches and all that, it's like that's less competition. What are you worried about? And with the single mother thing, it's also just like, oh, so the problem isn't like because if you want to make her a single mother, then it's not a problem that she's a single mother.
Yeah.
If she chooses to leave you and doesn't put up with your shit, now that's the problem. Like this control and entitlement. That should be the word.
My word today. My word of the day.
But like, so,
I
and
can't hear you. Oh,
oh,
you weren't talking. Wait,
oh,
you
can
were
you hear me?
talking?
I'm
Huh?
talking now. Let me see.
I don't know. Your mic is doing things.
Can you hear me now?
Not you singing. Oh. No, yeah, I can hear you. Oh no, I can't hear you now. Is it because I'm talking?
Maybe, I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Maybe God is striking us down for cussing earlier. I don't know. But
If we have Joel Osteen's luck or blessing, it will be a great windfall in it afterwards.
Joe Osteen can suck my dick. But
Oh,
he really can if I had one. I don't have one,
yeah.
y'all. I'm not trying.
He's one of the most soft-spoken deflectors in the whole gaslighters and manipulators in the whole world. God, wouldn't want us fighting over whether that money was stolen, hidden
Oh,
away. No.
what? Oh, I feel bad for those parishioners. They're so stupid. It's a
I can split
cult. That's a cult. That's a cult.
in a sea so that people can pass through. Can he not open up money in a wall for me?
Oh.
We can be blessed together. Amen.
Ah. Let me stop. Okay, let me stop before I really get in trouble.
Joel Osteen is wearing a mask pulled back on his face. Like, you know, that comics one with the Joker, where he cut off his face and stapled his face back on? That's what Joel Osteen looks like. I'm gonna leave it at that. But I've always felt this. He looks like someone, like he's wearing a mask pulled back on his face.
Yeah, he looks funny because he probably had like a couple of facelifts. Let's be real. He trying to keep himself together. That's why that $600,000 was in the wall. It was for plastic surgery. I'm sorry. Because I can't stand him. Let me talk about him again. You said what?
You want to end up looking like Kenny Copeland's demonic ass motherfucking gargoyle in this bitch.
Oh,
Demons. I can't be. I need a power plane. I can't be right with demons in the
G-bus.
Cast the
Ooh.
babies out. What the fuck? You're a pastor. That's what you're there for.
Yeah, exactly. But
Remember when he COVID?
huh?
Remember when Kenneth Copeland casted out COVID? Remember, we ain't living in
Totally
the
forgot
world.
about that.
That's why we got the variants, because he cast out the original COVID. He forgot to cast out the variants. That's the problem. See, he was focused on the one train. That's just, I mean, you gotta be specific with miracles, right? How you pray is how you'll stand.
Jeez Louise. Hey yo, come on. He did cast out the very hey yo, okay. Let's stop. Let's stop. But no, our condolences to the Cannon and Scott family. All jokes aside with the Joel Osteen shit. Like I said, losing a child is probably a parent's worst fear. It's a parent's worst fear. Especially when it's like nothing you can do. So, but let's get to promotions because yeah, we are running low on time. I have my book, A Puppy's
Journey.
Rampet's World, A Puppy Journey. What is wrong with me today? I'm gonna cut that out because that's not cute. Okay, so promotion time. All right. So I have my book on Amazon, Rampet's World, A Puppy Journey, about me and my emotional support dog who has moments on the show, and our bond and how we clicked from puppyhood to her adulthood. I also want to highlight a fundraiser I am doing for Love Clean Cure. It is a foundation that is helping young women be educated about breast cancer. I am working with the owner, this one. I will have the link in the description. And anything you want to do? Why is it frozen like that?
I don't know. They be doing that.
It's, yeah. Okay.
It has no respect.
Yeah, it doesn't.
They don't do it, but
Yes. Have mercy. Go ahead.
we just need to give some ties to Joel Osteen and then it'll work right.
Look, we're not giving shit to Joel Osteen. He has enough. Okay. He can sell a few planes. He can sell a few cars. He can sell a few homes. We ain't giving nothing to him. But please donate to Love Queen Cure in the link in the description. Please donate to that because that is definitely something that's close to my heart. Because I've had family members that have had breast cancer. My mom and my aunt had it and they survived, thank God. So please donate because everybody knows somebody, young or old. But seriously, do you have anything to promote?
Yeah, a few some of the regular things. So BelieveNY. They're still doing the toy drive, and their Venmo will love for people to donate to more of those things out. You don't have to go on the registry to pick it up because we've had a few mysterious donors do that and looking for the toys. So, and then we put in orders anyway. So
they're gonna go to hell. They're gonna go to hell for that.
with Osteen.
Oh,
I don't know. He has time. He's alive. He still has time.
no, but in all seriousness, that's fucked up. Why would you do that? Go ahead.
But yeah, that with East Village Mutual Aid, and also the Washington Square Park Mutual Aid, we're sharing a storage unit. We're out here coordinating, trying to make a difference across our little area of New York. And if you want to help us with the work we're doing with the homeless union, if you want to help us work we're doing for the serving the breakfast, serving, and with Washington Square Park Mutual Aid, serving basically dinner for people, getting warm clothes for people out during the winter. helping people who are facing eviction. Just multiple things are happening. Helping people get food distributed to them. Just the links will be below as well for you to help also donate to that. So holidays coming up. Let's make a difference for people who might not be expecting gifts.
It's a lovely thing. We just had that in DC and it was spectacular. So well, you guys, thank you for watching. We always appreciate it. We always love when you guys comment, like, and share our videos. Keep doing it. Definitely keep doing that. We appreciate it and it keeps us going. So we will see you in the next one. So bye.
Yeah.
This is not your normal discussion where we talk all about the hard topics uncensored. It's not your normal discussion.